Okay, well, welcome back to night 2 of Spiritual Partners. Okay, we're just going to do a very small meditation just to sort of get ready for the teaching. So get a comfortable seat. And then sort of gently allow your eyes to close. And then begin to watch your breath. So sort of allow yourself to just sort of be here. Allow the day, whatever events that you had done today, just sort of let them slip away and just bring yourself to the room right now. And imagine maybe that this is sort of an ancient time right now, like ancient India. And the person who's getting this letter, Aryana Garjan is writing this letter to this king to give him some advices on really methods, secret methods on how to rule his kingdom and sacred relationships. So just imagine that this king or queen is yourself. And this being that you've invited to come is going to come and teach you this ancient wisdom on how you can create this sort of perfect partner. So just put yourself in that mindset right now. And how might you be open to listening to this? You know, this being has come to teach you and has traveled far. And just sort of be open to the idea of, you know, could I find my perfect partner? You know, that relationship in my life. And then gently just open your eyes when you're ready. So, welcome back. For those of you who are just here for the first night, this is our second night of talks on Spiritual Partners by Geshe, Michael Roach, and Christy McNally. And Geshe Michael originally is from Phoenix, Arizona. He graduated from Princeton University. And then right around, his junior year, his spiritual path really began. And spent the next 25 years of his life studying these ancient ideas in a monastery in New Jersey and then in South India. And really, these real great, engaging speaker. I've known Geshe myself for about 10 years, and probably one of the. I think I told my mom this, that it was the one person I think that I wanted to most be like in my life, and I myself have learned so much from this and been able to apply these things into my own life. His spiritual partner, Christy, originally from Los Angeles, California, and her mom is here, attended NYU, and then she began her spiritual career then and studied with the greatest living masters, not only in the Buddhist tradition, but in the great Indian yoga systems as well. And they're both co-authors of a few books, How Yoga Works, the Tibetan Book of Yoga. And they've just come off a very large teaching tour of the Far East and recently a retreat in Asia. So without further ado, Geshe Michael Roach and Christy McNally.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for coming. Before we start, Lama Christy and I wanted to thank and honor some guests. We have some guests here over the weekend who have helped us a lot. We have been traveling. In the last year, we've been in Europe and Latin America and Asia on different tours. And tonight, a lot of the people who made that possible happen to be in town. And we just wanted to honor them and thank them. It was so nice to be in their countries and to have them host us there. And now that they're in our turf, we wanted to embarrass them. So from Mexico City, where we had an extraordinary time due to the kindness of our host, Aurora Martinez. And I'd like to ask her to stand up. I don't know where she is. Yeah. And her daughter, Gabriela Cervantes. And her daughter, Begonia. Is she here? No. She's outside playing. And Rafael Cervantes performing. We're honored to have from Argentina, from Buenos Aires, Carola Tereni. She was our host there. We also have several of our hosts from Taiwan here tonight. The first is Carol Lee. And someone who helped us in Taiwan a lot is Jessica Kung. I don't know if she's here. And her mother's not here, but Ann Chen helped us a lot. In Hong Kong, we were hosted by the family of Christina Bao Chung, who's here, I think. No? And David Gluck, who helped a lot. I don't know if he's here. A lot of these people are still cleaning up from the last talk. And we had friends from Singapore. We've been there on tours, but they helped a lot. They translated for us and helped both in Singapore and in other countries, Taiwan. Yat Peng, who is here. And Jackie Fisher from Singapore helped us on our tour of Singapore. We also did a tour of Israel, and we had an extraordinary time there last summer, and the sponsors, the hosts of that tour are here tonight. It's Dvora Sveli and her husband Ari. So I just wanted to thank them. We have this dream that by teaching the different things we teach business, spiritual yoga, spiritual partners, things like that. Our dream is that we could sort of erase the international borders, make it one world. I think we're very close to a border in Mexico, and we're kind of working to erase that one slowly. So we'll see what we can do. Yeah. We'll start the text. We're reading from an ancient text written almost 2,000 years ago by a great Indian teacher named Nagarjuna. You'll hear people say Arya Nagarjuna. Arya in ancient India means someone who understands highest reality very well. It doesn't mean what it means nowadays. So this teaching is from Arya Nagarjuna's letter to an ancient king. And I guess you're supposed to be the ancient king and queen. And we're the philosophers who have come to teach you. But the king and queen used to really sponsor the Nah. On the cover, we put a ancient manuscript, and on the left side of it, this manuscript is about emptiness, and on the left side you see a teacher named Saraha. And we thought we would honor Saraha tonight. Saraha was the teacher of Nagarjuna, so he doesn't get much credit usually. And I thought it was just good luck to have a picture of him there. And he taught this to Nagarjuna, and Nagarjuna taught it to others, and it's come down to us 2,000 years later. So we'll start on page 1. Nangne nangwe tartuk mumbanne, mumbe tartuk nanne mun tartuk, mune nangwe tartuk kansagni, shite tera nangki tambonzu. There are 4 different kinds of people. Those who begin their life in the light and end in the light. Those who begin in darkness and end in darkness. Those who begin in the light and end in darkness. And those who begin in the darkness and end in light. Let us try to be like the first. Okay. This is one of the first things that Nagarjuna says to the king. You know, some people start out life under a bad sign. They have a rough family life in their early years. Maybe they're poor. Maybe they have abusive parents or problems at school. And then they work hard, and by the end of their life is light. And then some people begin their life in light. They have a good family, they have a good school, they live in a wealthy country like this one. And then they just kind of progressively screw up over the course of their life. And then they end their life in darkness. And these are the different possibilities. Normally, the way life goes, the reason we start young and healthy and then get older and older and then get wrinkled skin and bald heads is because of karma. We come into this life with like a debit card. It's as if from our past lives we have done many good deeds, we have helped many, many people. And then we enter this life with a debit card. It's like full. And then our early years are great. Someone just gave me a CD. It was The Byrds, okay? Like, this is my generation, you know. I have this theory that at age 21, your musical tastes peak out. And so you swear that whatever music was popular when you were 21 is the best music around. Like Neil Young, 1971, and The Byrds, like those are Buffalo Springfield, those are good music. And then everything since then has just been downhill, you see. And what's happening really is not that the music has changed. It's that you enter life with a certain kind of a karmic treasure chest. You have a lot of good karma as you enter life. And you get stronger and you go through your youth. You know, young people are dancing, they are running, they're laughing, you know. And then you peak out at a certain age and then it goes downhill. It's not that your body changes. It's not that the radio gets worse. And it's not that your partner after the first year suddenly becomes a cranky person. Okay? It's that your karma wears out. You see? You have done some kindness. You have done some goodness to other people. And that's why you were born into a wealthy country. That's why you are healthy. That's why you met your first partner or your early, so beautiful, so nice. And then as the relationship goes on, the existence of the relationship uses up the karma. Every minute that the relationship goes on, your debit card is being charged more and more. The dollars in your karmic bank account, every day that the relationship continues, are dropping because they are used up by the relationship. So it's natural. It's the way of all things that you should meet someone. You should admire them from a distance. You should ask them out for the first date. You should fall in love and they fall in love with you. And then you should decide to have a relationship. And then the existence of the relationship should destroy the relationship. This is how karma works. This is the nature of things. They say in the scriptures, the birth of things is what destroys the thing. The beginning of a thing is what destroys the thing. The very passing of time with your partner will destroy your relationship. Even if you don't get divorced, even if you don't split up, which is rare, one of you will die before the other. This is the nature of all things, you see. This is how things go. What this book is about, what Nagarjuna is trying to teach the king, is that there's a way to stop that process. There's a way to invest the karma in the debit card, and then instead of it going down after you meet your, they call it what, the honeymoon period, first 9 months, they're like fun, and then you start to see faults in your partner. There's a way to reverse this process. There's a way to recharge the credit card every morning so that the relationship gets sweeter and sweeter. You begin the relationship in light, and then the relationship ends in greater light. The light increases in the relationship. So there's a trick, there's a skill, and that's all we have to teach. That's all we have to talk about. It's called karma, and it's called emptiness. So tonight we'll talk about those two ideas. See if you can get your relationship to get sweeter every day instead of getting older every day. Okay? And Mama Christie always teaches the hard part, so she's going to talk about how to do it. Okay.
There have been times. Try again. There have been times in our lifetimes when we became the sun and the moon in themselves, and the light from our very bodies illuminated countless planets. But then we dropped again into a life of total pitch-black darkness, where we could not even see our own hand held up to our face. So this verse is about how things go up and down. How we've been going up and down for since beginningless time, actually. And, we have traveled, according to the Buddhist tradition, through different realms of existence. And some realms we were like a demigod, and our bodies were, glowing, and we felt really good all the time. And then in other realms, you know what happens down in the other realms. It's very painful. And, whether or not you believe in all these realms of Buddhism or not, you can see it in this life. Some days, how this applies to our partner, some days we have these beautiful good days. And then other days, we can't really remember why we started the relationship in the first place, because they don't look too attractive to us right at this very second. So, you have, Geshe Michael was talking about the romance period of the beginning, right? I like to call it the butterfly stage, where, the person walks into the room and you meet their eyes, and suddenly, the butterflies start flapping in your stomach, and suddenly, the room changes, and you're in a totally different world, and it's all them. Just them. And, everything else kind of disappears a little bit, and you could just stare at them for hours into their eyes, and time will just fly by, staring into each other's eyes, and that's when you're the sun and the moon themselves, in this verse, that's the first part of the verse. When you're on cloud 9 with your partner, and you can do no wrong together, and everything is really happy and blissful. And in the modern day, we call that being in love, right? We call that being in love. Actually, in our tradition, we wouldn't say that was love. We would say that's a result of love. But we'll get into that in a second. Then, other days, we drop down into that pitch black dark place when, they walk into the room and the tension is so thick that you could cut it with a knife, and you try to say something, but every single word you say seems to start an argument, so you just say nothing, and you're just really quiet. And I was roommates with someone who had this relationship, and it was really uncomfortable to walk into the apartment because they'd be on opposite ends of the living room, and I had to walk through that tension thing, and it was cold and burr. But we get to those extremes, and we get to every place in the middle of those extremes. And this is what this verse is telling us. It's talking about the ups and downs that we will have in our lives, and especially in our relationships. And what we need to do when they happen, because they will happen, ups and downs will come in any relationship, is we have to know where they're coming from. Did the person who you used to be able to stare at into their eyes for hours on end without even noticing anybody else in the room, did they somehow change while you weren't looking? Like, did someone swap them for another person, and suddenly they're this person that really, bugs you or something? Where did it come from? Where are these moments coming from? You have to realize there is no partner out there who changed when you weren't looking. It's not like your partner changed and they got worse, or they got unfun, or they got somehow they tricked you, right? Or they just aren't the same as they were when you first met. It's not like that. There is no partner out there like that, because there is no partner out there at all. The partner that you think you see doesn't exist. The partner that does something to you doesn't exist. And that's the emptiness of your partner. There is no partner that you have not created from your own past actions. There is no partner at all that comes to you that you have not created. So, everything that you see in your partner, and everything that you see in the entire world, actually, we say is like a projection, right? It's coming from a tiny little seed inside your heart chakra. And you are projecting everything you see in the world. You are projecting everyone you see in the world, and especially you're projecting your partner. And at that moment, you have to realize where they're coming from. Because if you realize that you're creating the situation, then you suddenly have this incredible power to change it. Right? If you're creating them, that means you could create someone else that you like better. You could go back to the butterfly stage where you stare into each other's eyes for hours on end. How do we get the butterfly stage to happen on our 20th anniversary, of marriage? How do we go back to the butterfly stage? I said the butterfly stage was not a cause, it was a result, right? I said it wasn't love, it was the result of love. Remember? It was just a few minutes ago, I'm sure you all remember. So then, if the butterfly stage of that beautiful, blissful feeling of being with that other person is a result of love, then we have to figure out what's the cause. What is love in the Buddhist tradition? What do we have to do to get that with our partners? And we talked about it before, last night. Love is selflessness. Love is immersing yourself in the other person and their hopes and their dreams so much that they become your own hopes and dreams. And you are acting as much for them as you are for yourself, and you don't even notice because you have taken them on as part of yourself. And that's the stage that we have to get. Somehow, everybody in this room who has experienced the butterfly stage has done that in the past. And that's why they had that beautiful karmic ripening of those sweet 6 or 8 months or however long it lasted, until it started going downhill. If we can keep that attitude of love up towards our partners, if we can keep that attitude of holding their hopes and dreams as precious to us as we hold our own hopes and dreams, then we can have it all the time. Then the butterfly stage will just be recreated over and over and over again. Sound good? So you have to remember, take this verse home, look at it every once in a while. Remember, it's all up to you. If you have a dark day with your partner, just pull this page out again, and remember how to change it. Remember that it's not fixed. It's not like set in stone. You can shift it, right? You can shift it.
Because of what Lama Christie said, I would like to skip to a different verse, okay? It's page 5. Your attempts to do the good karma that will return the butterfly stage to your relationship have to be unilateral, okay? Your actions to make your partner's hopes and dreams and wishes your own, your attempt to put yourself in their head the whole day and act accordingly, do what they want because it's what you want because you just put your head in their head, right? That attempt has to be unilateral. Don't expect any payback on the same day. It doesn't come. And that's why we give up. That's why we give up trying to please your partner. That's why we give up trying to solve problems in our relationship. Because we do something and it doesn't work. And then we get discouraged. And then we give up the relationship. You see? I personally believe that this verse is one of the most important in all of the great religions of the world. I think this verse is like the most important. People used to come up to me. We taught in New York for like 10 years. And at our economic level, the kind of apartment you can rent, it usually has roaches in it, you see? And my Lama, he used to call me King of the Roaches, Michael Roach. And then people would come, and in the diamond business, they used to call me Juke. Juke in Yiddish means the roach, So we, people would come up to us all the time. We'd give a talk about not killing. And they'd say, does that mean people and animals? And we'd say, of course, it means animals. And they said, oh, like dogs and cats, pets that we love. No, we say all animals. They say, well, what about cows and horses and pigs and chickens, things we eat? No, you can't kill them either. Not because it's immoral, not because it hurts them, not because it's unkind to other living creatures. It's just stupid. Anything you do to another living creature comes back to you. You see, any pain you cause to any sentient life comes back to you. So it's in your own interest not to cause pain to other beings. They're not. I know what the next question is going to be. There's a long line. This person just got through asking me about pigs and chickens and cows. I know what they're going to ask next. You know what it's going to be, right? They're going to say, what about roaches? You know? Like, I got roaches in my apartment, you know? Like, what do I do about the roaches, you know? Can I kill the roaches in my... They're asking me, right? And, can I kill the roaches in my apartment? And I always say this. I say, do you think it hurts them when you step on them? And they say, I don't know. Well, do they run away when you try to step on them? Yes. Well, so probably it hurts, right? And they say, yeah. So what if you stepped really slowly down on this roach? You stepped very, very slowly. You put your foot down. And you start to break those tiny little legs, right? Those delicate, kind of beautiful little legs. And you're crushing them. What if at the same moment your ribs started to break? One by one. Your own ribs. Would you continue? You see, would you keep crushing? And then they say, no, of course not, you know. But you see, anything you do to another living creature will happen to you. It's just that there's a time gap. There's this really, really terrible, horrible time gap between what you do to another creature and what happens to you. And this is the most famous verse in Buddhism about the time gap, okay? If it wasn't for the time gap, we would all be completely moral, completely compassionate, completely honest. Every time you cheat somebody, your bank account suddenly drops $100. You know, just like that. At the same moment that you lied to somebody in the store or something, your own bank account dropped $100. After a couple of days, you'd figure it out, right? No, and then the whole world would be totally moral, you see? Because it's in your interest, you see? But the problem with karma, the problem with what we do to other people, it takes time to ripen. When you hurt your partner, when you lie to your partner, a seed is planted in your own mind. 6 weeks later, 8 weeks later, that seed ripens into a perception of your partner. It's like an overlay. It's like, what do you call those things? Projector? What do you call it? Transparency. It's like a transparency. The karma in your mind, when you lied to your partner 6 weeks ago, it lays a transparency over your partner. And then it filters what they do. And then they start lying to you. You see? Not because of them, because of your filter that you put on them. You see? If it didn't take 6 or 8 weeks, we'd all be good to our partners. You see? If your partner started lying the day that you started lying, you'd stop lying to your partner, right? But it takes time. There's this time gap. So I'm going to read the verse just because I think this is one of the most important verses in all of the world's religions. Okay? Dikpe leinam chepa gayang ni, dei mula tsunshin mi chekyang, chiwe dila bhabna dikbayi, lek jebu kala ngamba gyur. It's not that in the moment when you do something that hurts someone else, it suddenly cuts you like a slip of the knife. In the moment of your death, you will see with your own eyes what has come from all the times that you hurt the people around you. In the moment of death, all the karmas ripen at the same time. Everything comes down at the same time. All the karmas that are left open for your whole lifetime, they all ripen. You see, then in the moment of your death, you understand for a few minutes, for an hour, you understand that everything that has happened to you comes from how you treat other people. So how does this relate to your partner? In a positive way, right? Like, let's not talk about death and hell and all that. In a positive way. If your partner is showing some kind of behavior that you don't like, if your partner is doing something that you don't like, there's only one way to fix it. You have to stop doing that same thing yourself, unilaterally. Okay? They're not going to respond right away. It's not going to happen in 24 hours. Okay? If they're being dishonest to you, it's because you have been dishonest to them, maybe in a smaller way, maybe deep inside your heart. Maybe you didn't do it physically or verbally, but it's there. There's some kind of seed in your heart for dishonesty. If your partner seems to be dishonest to you, it has to be coming from something that you did in the past yourself. How do you fix it? 100% total, perfect honesty from now on. You know, nothing, even the slightest bit, less than pure, total honesty to them. Will it fix the situation in the same day? Do your ribs crack when you step on the road? No. Okay? And don't expect it. It takes time to ripen. So be ready to be good unilaterally. Jesus taught it. Jesus said, when somebody steals your coat, what did he say? When somebody steals your undercoat, when somebody steals your sweater, what should you do? Give them your coat. Hey, do you want my coat too? Be nice to them. Love your enemies. This is all not some kind of moral thing. It's not some Billy Graham thing. It's not like the government said we had to do this, or your mom and dad said you had to do this, or you heard it in church. It's not like that. It's just the smartest thing to do. You want your partner to be honest with you? There's only one way. You change yourself. You make yourself perfectly honest. And then in a few weeks, in a few months, they will change. Okay? And it takes that much time. And you have to commit yourself to one-sided, from my side, I'm going to be totally honest. Why? Because I want you to change. You see? And in this case, you don't even have to mention anything to them, right? You don't have to have an argument. You just start it now, right now. You start doing what you want them to do. And according to these laws of karma and how the world happens, your partner will change. You can create the perfect partner. You don't have to run away from your current partner. You can change them. You can change any detail about them you want by doing the opposite yourself. Whatever bugs you in your partner, fix it by doing the opposite. I'll say it again. It's a mantra. Okay? Whatever bugs you about your partner, fix it by doing the opposite yourself. That's all. Okay? Easy to say, impossible to do. Okay.
We're going forwards and backwards and forwards. What did we do? Page 4. Whether you reach liberation or not is something that depends only on you. No one else can do it for you. And so go now to others and learn from them knowledge. Strive never to hurt another and master meditation. Make every effort you can to find the 4 higher truths. So Geshe Michael and I have been doing these partner talks for a couple of years now. And some interesting things have happened. People used to come and ask us spiritual questions like, oh, can you help me with my meditation? Or, they would ask us business questions like, oh, my, shoe company is not doing so well, or, But now we get these relationship questions. We're like relationship counselors now. We hear all of these problems, all of these interesting stuff I never even wanted to know. And so it's a little bit of shift in our lives to hear about that side of our students, instead of like the meditation side of the students, which is what I'm probably better at, to tell you the truth. So we've been hearing a couple of interesting things in our couple years of talking to people about their partnerships. One of the things that comes up in people who are trying to practice this together Like, you came to this talk with your partner, and you go home tonight, and you say, honey, let's practice this stuff at home. It sounds great, you know? And it's all well and good, and then the first time you get in a fight, this is what happens, okay? I don't like the way you do blah, 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 right? You're so blah, 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 right? Just fill in the blank. You're so blah, blah, blah. You have no blah, blah, blah. Everybody's had this. You just fill in the blank. And then the other person, this is like the funny part. When you first hear about these teachings, they say, oh, that's just your karma. and they, you know, if you had better karma, you'd see me as a perfect holy angel. and like, people are coming to me with these problems, you know. Now I'm having karma and emptiness fights with my partner. You know, that may be true. You know, that it might be true what they're saying, you know, if you had better karma, you know, might be true. But the fact is, it's never going to get better that way. You know, the person who is saying that, it's like doing someone's book for them. Now, some of you probably don't know what a book is. We have this tradition of stopping 6 times a day, or sometimes when we're really busy, it's only 3, and checking our minds and seeing, like, in the past 2 hours, did I do anything really negative to hurt anybody? Or in the past 2 hours, did I do anything really positive to help somebody? And then you write it down in your book. And it's a way of keeping your mind in check all day long. You know, so you don't just go way off into left field, forgetting all about the teachings for the whole day. You know, so even when you're in your busy office, you know, we know people who are corporate executives who keep it in their daily planner book, and everybody thinks they're just making another planning note, and it's a beautiful practice. But see, the person who's saying it's just your karma, right? They are like doing someone else's book for them. You know, they're like confessing for the other person. They're like, oh, you don't have good enough seeds to see me as blah blah blah, or how would you know? Like, can you get into their minds? Can you read their minds? It's none of our business what their other person's karma is. You know, we're not the karma police of our partners. That's like the worst, like, bad habit you could get into when you start to do these teachings. Don't be the karma police for your partner. Be the karma police for yourself. Because the only way your reality is going to change is if you're the karma police for you. Because karma, it's not 50% your karma and 50% their karma. It's 100% your karma. The things that you're seeing in your relationship, even though there's 2 of you, it's all coming from you alone. And that's what this verse is saying. Whether you reach freedom or not depends on you. Whether you reach a good relationship or not depends on you. Whether you have some sort of ideal, perfect partnership that leads you to enlightenment, or whether you continue to bicker, it's your karma, depends on you. It's 100% you. It's 100% your karmic seeds. So you don't, like Geshe Michael said, you don't even have to talk to them about your problems with them. Like, you don't have to say word 1 about it, because you know how to fix it. And it, you know, it's very easily said, and it's very hard to do. We don't come from a culture that teaches this. So it's hard to get in the habit of thinking this way, that, wow, every single thing that I see in my relationship is coming from me. So I have total power to change it. And the words that I say in the moment don't matter at all. Like, the words that I say in the moment, like, let's see, I'll give you a
real life
example. You guys love these real life examples. I get quoted on these real life examples years later. Okay, so So maybe there's something your partner's doing that you don't like so much, or maybe there's something your partner's not doing that you would rather them do so much. My partner happens to, I have these really nice kirtan songs that I sing for the yoga class, right? Right? Everybody, people heard it like a couple hours ago. But anyway, so Geshe Michael wakes up in the morning and he does like, I don't know, a horn concerto version of these songs. And that's it. That's it. It's exactly that. And I have asked him so many times, but please don't do that in the morning, please. Just not in the morning. You know, like any other time is okay, but the morning, oh, I'm in silence. You know, that doesn't count as silence, Geshe Michael. You know?
I don't say anything.
No matter what I do, the horn concerto continues. And eventually I realized, you know, I'm like this Karman emptiness teacher, and I gotta just stop asking him to stop the horn concerto and just focus on what's the cause of the horn concerto? Like, where is it coming from? You know what? I haven't figured it out yet, so if any of you figure it out during the break, please cut the line. Just come up and tell me. You can write a note so I'm not like totally embarrassed. You know, just leave it on here, underneath here. So you know, you reach a stage in your relationships where you don't have to say anything anymore about, you know, how is the relationship going, or this or that or the other thing, because both of you come to realize so clearly that everything is coming from you, and everything is your work. And when you come to that state with your partner, it's a really interesting place to be, because it's like you're both working on yourself and your own heart so much, and then the thing that you share is not how do we fix this broken relationship. That's not the bond that you have together. The bond you have together is how can we help each other perfect ourselves together. You know, and it's a totally different way of having a partnership. You know, how do we help ourselves perfect ourselves while being together? Like, how do I help Geshe Michael perfect himself? How does Geshe Michael help me perfect myself? And then you just find ways to support each other in your own individual progress. And it's a very sweet way to live. It's a very sweet way to live. And this is what the verse is talking about. Well, I think that's all for this verse. Yeah?
As we were mentioning, we just got back from a 3 months tour, China and India. And in India, we've been studying holy scriptures, Hindu tradition, from a great teacher in Varanasi, in Benares, the holy city. And his name is Hemachandra, Professor Hemachandra Chakravarti. And he's old, he's like 90. And he teaches us, and we went one day, and he looked disturbed, you know. And we said, well, what's wrong, you know? And he said, I didn't eat today, you know. And we're like, why? And he said, there's no cooking gas. I couldn't get cooking gas, you know. We said, well, just go to the store, we'll pay, you know. He said, no, you don't understand. The store has run out of cooking gas, you know. And then we're like, well, go to a different store. And he says, no, you don't get it. In Varanasi, in the 15 million people in Varanasi, there's no cooking gas. People aren't eating today, you know. They aren't cooking today. There's just not enough gas, you know. And then we went to Shanghai, and we spoke in the stock exchange on the 27th floor. The whole time in Shanghai, it was about 8 or 10 days, we didn't see the sun. Shanghai is this huge cloud now, this huge, terrible cloud. You can't describe it, you can't imagine it. It's not that you don't see the stars, it's that you don't see the sky. And it's even hard to tell if the sun is up sometimes or whether it's down. The whole city they're burning up this tremendous amounts of coal and oil, and you know, we didn't see the sun for almost a month at one point in China, and it was really depressing. And then they are using up their resources. It's completely, we as a world, as a planet, we are burning up all the available oil and coal for future generations, for billions of future people. We are just burning it up for ourselves, you know? We are just like pigs. We are like animals. We can't think beyond our own desires, beyond our own life. We can't think that our children, our grandchildren, they won't have oil. They'll be like Professor Chakravarti, you know? They'll be sitting there, and I tell you, they will curse us, you know? They will curse